It's a positive film. It has heroes and villains, and that it essentially is a fun movie to watch. It's been a long time since people have been able to go to the movies and see a sort of straightforward, wholesome, fun adventure.
Well, it's a fantasy. It's not science fiction so much as it is space fantasy. And it's about people. It's finally about people and not finally about science.
The story, when you actually put it into words, is only so much nonsense to hang a great visual experience onto. It's the stuff that fairy tales are made of.
Sort of boiling down religion into a very basic concept. The fact that there is some deity or some power or some force that sort of controls our destiny works for good and also works for evil.
Marvelous, healthy innocence. Great pace, wonderful to look at, full of guts, nothing unpleasant. I mean, people go bang bang and people fall over and are dead, but, no horrors. A sort of wonderful freshness about it, kind of like a wonderful fresh air.
It's got whatever you want it to be. It's pure entertainment. It's like a roller coaster ride, and it can be interpreted as long as you enjoy it, which is the intention.
Hello and welcome to Generation Skywalker. I'm Stuart Skinner and I'm flying solo tonight because I've got coming up an interview I did with Zia Rezvi. Lovely chap. We delved into his collecting habits, a bit about his background, where he first saw Star Wars, but he's got some amazing runs. So sit back, enjoy the interview, and I'll see you on the other side. Right, now I'm delighted to welcome Zia Rezvi to Generation Skywalker. Good evening, Zia.
Hi, good evening, Stu. How are you doing today?
I'm all good. We're all getting in a festive spirit. Are you a big Christmas person?
Not really, but I do enjoy the spirit of it and the atmosphere and the excitement and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean I'm not big into it, but still, it's fun thing. I enjoy it.
You're not a humbug. That's
No.
the question. Yeah. Now, Zia, we've got you on tonight. We're going to go through, like we've done in the past with other guests. I've asked you for your 5 areas of Star Wars with regards to collecting, which means the most to you. But before we get on to that, I want to go back with regards to Star Wars and get why you are invested in Star Wars. Now, to start with, Zia, how old were you and where did you first see it? Because I'm sure I read somewhere you saw Star Wars in Belgium?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes,
Good.
Yes. I was about, I think, 9 years old. I think it's before we actually go back in time and look at sort of my background and how I got into Star Wars. I think it'd be great if I just tell you about my 3 phases of collecting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That put a bit of context to my whole sort of collection and when we talk about the photos and stuff that we will discuss later on in the interview. The first phase of my collecting was when I first watched Star Wars. It was very much about pictures and printed materials, magazines and books and scrapbooks and stuff like that. The second phase was about Topps cards. And the final phase, which I'm currently sort of collecting, is the toys, Star Wars toys. So this is just give you a bit of context. I grew up in Belgium. I've got a younger brother. We were both big Star Wars fans. And I remember, I think it was summer of 1977, when my brother and I, which is called by my dad called me in and said, "Hey boys," he showed us a magazine, a US magazine, and showed us that there was this new movie that came out in the US called Star Wars. And I instantly became fascinated by the poster. by this guy holding this lightsaber, a dark shadowy figure in the background, and these two funny looking robots or android, I don't know what they were. And then a couple of weeks later, my dad brought some Topps trading card home, which I opened, and I still remember the smell of the bubble gum. And I often wonder if he had brought me action figures, how it would change me. But at this stage, it was these cards, and I was fascinated by them and all that stuff. A couple of weeks later, we saw the movie. Yeah, so it was around September, I think 1977. Back in Belgium, I first saw Star Wars, and like everyone else, loved it. Really, when it came out from there, from the cinema hall, I was just thrilled, very excited, and loved the movie. It was a great movie. It's funny because unlike today, you saw the movie only once. You didn't see it a couple of times. Like most kids, you wanted to recreate the moments from the movie, and we didn't have anything like the YouTube and video recorders that we have now. So what I did, I really launched myself into collecting anything which reminded of the movie, things like stickers, cards, magazines, books, whatever I could grab. My dad never encouraged us to buy any toys, so for some reason I never got into toys at that stage. Wherever I went, if I had found a magazine, I just used to scrap the pieces of articles and whatever was, even if it was a logo, whatever of Star Wars, I just had to have it and put it in my scrapbook.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Zia. Before we go on too far here, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about what you said. So first of all, seeing it in Belgium, what language did you watch the film in? Was it in English at that point?
Well, it was English. I grew up learning English from the beginning, so it was natural that when we went to cinema, we actually watched it on in English subtitle. It was actually subtitled in French and Flemish, which is like similar to Dutch, because in Belgium they speak two languages, Flemish and French. So it was subtitled, but I saw it in English.
So you grew up in Brussels, did you? This was your...
Yes, I did. Yeah. I did grow up in Brussels. I went to school there. Went to my primary and secondary school there before going to settling in England in the late 80s. I studied at Warwick before moving to London in the early 90s.
You also just mentioned a magazine. Now, I kind of came across the magazine you were talking about. Now, I've not seen this before. This was a Reader's Digest.
That's correct.
Obviously British listeners will know Reader's Digest pretty well. It's quite an interesting cover, isn't it? Because September 1977, it's got Star Wars. It's got this massive Vader head, the Death Star X-Wings and the robots. And then right across the middle of it, it's got the sex test. I mean, they're so far apart, aren't they?
Oh my God. I obviously when I don't have any recollection of it. When my dad showed us the magazine, but this time I was only looking at the poster or the artwork. I don't remember. This is only later on when I got hold of the magazine, original magazine, and I saw that. It was quite funny. Yes.
Quite different things to have on the cover there. Yeah, I've never seen that before. That's one to look out for. It'd be quite interesting to see.
Oh, there wasn't many pictures inside. I think it was just an article in the magazine about the movie because it was a summer issue, so it was just when the movie had come out, and it was just talking about the story behind the movie. I don't even recall reading the whole article, but I just remember glimpses of it about the whole history behind it, how George Lucas went to 20th Century Fox to raise money for it and stuff like that.
So you were saying that you used to get a lot of Topps cards and stuff, and it really is quite beautiful. You did a scrapbook. You just alluded to you did a scrapbook, and you've digitalized the scrapbook and got it online.
Correct, that's right. Yeah,
it's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, that kind of thing to me, when people talk about nostalgia and things from their childhood, yes, it's great having your toys, but you created that. That came from your passion and your mind. It's brilliant. I think it's one of your main treasure pieces.
Yeah, it is. I've kept it. It's probably from that era, from that what I call the first phase of collecting. That's the scrapbook. That's I've kept it. But still, you just won't believe to the extent I went to, as I said, to get some of these pictures. I I mean, like going to the dentist or going to the doctors, grab the magazine. That's it. If it has Star Wars,
So they come out.
I remember once going to a friend's house, and I went to the bathroom there, and they had the Star Wars bubble bath in a box. I think it was sealed. I just grabbed the box and I opened it and I just grabbed it. I said, I want the box because it had a picture of C-3PO or something like that. I don't remember. But I just grabbed it. It was for my scrapbook, and I think it is there. It is in my scrapbook that pictures taken from this or the actual packaging from the bubble bath. So it was nuts. I think my only recollection of getting any toy related items was in the summer of 1978. I visited my uncle and aunt in New York, and my uncle took me to this department store, and I still remember the smell of plastic in the toy area. And he asked me, just pick up any items you want. So the two items I picked up from there was the Darth Vader, Kenner Darth Vader, and also the Kenner movie viewer, which became one of my all-time favorite toy from my childhood. Because once again, because we did not have any videos or any internet or anything like that, so the only way to relive the movie was things like these toys, which you can just view. It was like a couple of minutes clip of the movie, so I can enjoy that. So that's my only recollection from the toys that I actually bought. Apart from that, it was really much some trading cards, stickers, and magazine clippings, and newspaper ads and stuff like that.
A really fascinating area. So this is kind of alluding to you just said your first phase, 1977 to 1983, all those kind of items. So in 1983, now first of all, I just want to give a nod to Stephen Danley's podcast, Star Wars at the Movies, which you did an amazing interview. I suggest people go back and have a listen to that. Episode 6, brilliant. Steve Danley does a fantastic job. One of my favourite podcasts. You do talk on there that you recorded a Return of the Jedi trailer for local television. I've got to ask you about that before we can move on from any of this.
Yeah, it's a funny story because there was such a anticipation for Return of the Jedi. I mean, it was amazing. I think it's just waiting as a kid. You're waiting for the movie to come out, and you hear stories, and I used to be subscribed to Banta Tracks and used to read a Starlog magazine, and so we hadn't seen any trailer, but there was a French TV show, with sci-fi TV show called Temps X on French television, and these guys, I don't know why, but they were at 2 a.m. These guys were going to broadcast the teaser trailer of Return of the Jedi. My brother and I were very excited, and we thought, okay, great. Let's set the video recorder to have it recorded at 2 a.m. We just couldn't wait. We stayed up all night, and at 2 a.m. we decided, okay, you know what? No, let's record it, but we want to watch it. And we watched it, and then after that, I think we watched it 10, 15 times the whole night, because we were just thrilled by seeing some of these scenes from the movie, and very excited, and so it was good fun.
Brilliant. So let's just carry on with looking at your collecting phases then. So what happens in 1983 that you move away from Star Wars items? Obviously Jedi's only just coming out there and you're excited for the trailer.
I guess it's after, Jedi, you must have heard from other collectors that you go through a phase where, you go to high school and stuff like that. And, I think the passion was there, but not as high. And I just had to move on. Went to high school. Then, as I said, went to the UK to study at Warwick University. Still read a lot of science fiction, watched all the movies. As you know, in the 80s, there was an explosion of great science fiction and fantasy movies which came out. And Star Wars was always in the back of my mind, but I was not really actively sort of collecting anything.
Same as most people, isn't it? It's a life takes over. That's right, yeah. So you stated to me that you got your second phase of collecting, 94 to 2005, so quite an expansive period of time, 11 years, but it was all about Topps trading cards at this point.
That's right.
So what triggered you getting back into any kind of collecting at that point? 94. What happens in 94?
While we were in London, my brother and I just decided to go to Empire Day. There was an Empire Day in Elstree. I think it was 94. And we visited, it was like some of the actors were there, Kenny Baker and Dave Pross were there and all that. So it was good fun. I enjoyed it. I thought, wow, Star Wars is alive and kicking and all that. And I also remember a show of some behind the scene lost footage from Return of the Jedi. So we watched that. It was good fun. And then at some point we went to the dealer's room. And I saw the top trading card, and I said, "Wow! Well, I used to collect those, and yeah, I triggered that interest and say, you know what, I'd love to get them back." And you have to remember that when I started collecting during my first phase, I only got the first set, the blue set. Then I found out there was another 4, the yellow, orange, and whatever set. At the same time, my brother actually moved to the United States. And him also being a Star Wars fan, went on a shopping spree. He just went berserk. He just bought everything, any books and magazines and cards, whatever we craved for or what we missed out as a kid. He bought that, and he shipped it back to the UK, and that's how I got into all these Topps trading cards. I expanded that to the modern line, the wide vision Topps trading card and stuff like that. So yeah, that was it. Up to 2005, I had a big collection then.
Yeah, so a really interesting area actually, and it's sometimes those kind of real focus areas. So even at that point, you still not ever really had the toys, have you? I mean,
no, I didn't. Well, what happened is that towards, I think it was mid 2005, 2006, I needed some money, so I had to get rid of some of my collection, and I was probably tired of this. I had achieved what I wanted, completed all my sets and stuff like that. I was very, very lucky that I had a willing buyer who actually bought 60% of my collection.
Oh, wow! So
that helped me quite a lot. And I think it was probably 2008, 2009. I was browsing the internet and I saw all these, people collecting these toys and Kenner toys, and I thought, wow, I seem to have missed all of this. Because I did not buy any toys when I was a kid. I always saw them on the shop window. So for me, and this is why that explains, I think, probably a lot of why I collect mint on cards rather than loose figures. So I saw these toys on the internet, and I thought, I would love to get into it, but where do I start? So this was actually the start of my third and current phase of collecting. And I was very, very lucky that I got friendly with someone who actually became my mentor around that time. The guy's name was Jeff Carlton. He's the author of the Star Wars Wish Book.
Oh, right, yes.
So we actually, and this is before the time of Facebook, so I was actually corresponding with him on email. So he taught me everything about vintage collecting, toy vintage collecting, about 12 back and whatever, and all the Kenner lines. I didn't know anything about all those things. But he taught me 2 things which I hold very dearly, and which have really helped me shape my collection really, and help me achieve all the things that I have at the moment. And the 2 pieces of advice he gave me was, be patient. This hobby requires a lot of patience, especially that if you want something in a good condition, you'll have to wait for it. But also, at the same time, do a lot of research, patience and research. And the second piece of advice was in the same line, that if you want to get good thing, always aim for the good thing, in terms of go for the item to be mint or name mint. And that's a piece of advice I've followed since. And I'm still following that.
Yeah, sound advice as well, especially the patience. I mean, since this modern era of collecting, there seems to be a lot of people come in the hobby, don't there, and try to buy everything straight away, and you see so many people just burn out and just disappear again. So the patience to me is a really vital part if you're in the hobby for the long time. It's good advice. Are you still in touch with?
No, I tried to reach out to him actually, just to say probably thank you really, because as they say, a lot of what I've achieved is thanks to him. So I've tried on Facebook. I've even emailed him, but I haven't had much success really.
Do you remember what your very first toy purchase was? Did you do what we all do and just buy all sorts and quite unfocused and just all over the place? I'm still like that now, to be fair.
Correct. Yeah, I went. I think my first, if I can, I think the first one was probably a R2D2 Sensoscope, a Return of Jedi one, and I think it was even as it was budget, so it was really, it had a yellow bubble and all that stuff. But as I say, I was learning. I was just picking up things, but yes, I was at the same time striving, as I say, to aim for items in a very good condition. Yeah, I got all kind of stuff. Ships, box ships, mint on cards, even loose figures, posters and stuff like that. Yeah, it was crazy. I was whatever I could grab. But as I say, one of the key things is why I got some of these items, a lot of these items, is because my brother is still in the US at the moment, but he helped me purchase quite a lot of stuff. I used to go on eBay and buy stuff and got it shipped to his home address, and then. He brought it back whenever he came to the UK to visit me and my parents.
That's a helpful link to have, isn't it? Someone in the States. I mean, and you also you started collecting. You've got down Phase 3 starting in 2011. Still reasonable prices there, wasn't it? I mean, do you ever look back and just think, wow, what happened? Because at that point, I mean, you could still pick up some really nice stuff. I know some stuff was expensive, but not like it is now.
Oh yeah, correct, yeah. Oh yeah, there was. I mean, you didn't realize at that time, but yes, I mean, I got some pretty good stuff then. I mean, it's interesting, as I say, when I started it, there was so much stuff I bought, which I don't have anymore, which I sold. But because of prices were reasonable at that time, you just bought them. You didn't think too much about it. I was not into high-end item at that stage. It was whatever I could grab and whatever I thought was reasonable.
And now you say you were picking up. Well, I'll use your sentence you sent to me. I had a crazy number of focus characters and ships in boxes. Do you still have a big collection like that, or are you quite focused on certain card backs, or are you focused on certain characters? I know we're going to look at some of your focuses tonight, but do you still deviate outside of those focuses?
I had a crazy number of character focus. I mean, gosh, I had a driver, IG-88, Obi-Wan, TIE fighter pilot. I mean, oh my God, I had so many. And I realized at time, I think it was probably 2016, 2017, I realized that this is not sustainable. I had to narrow my focus, and I just did that. I got rid of a lot of these mint on card figures and narrowed it to 5 characters: Death Star Droid, Death Star Commander, Vader, Leia Organa, and the R2D2.
We're going to talk about 4 of those 5 shortly. The only one you haven't put into, I don't think you did anyway, was the Death Squad Commander.
That's right, because it's not as high as a focus as it used to be. So I still have a good set of mint on cards, but no, it's not as big as before.
The first thing that jumps out when you talk about those 5, I mean, you've not really gone for a cheap figure in there, have you? They're all first 12, and they're all apart from Death Star Droid, first 20, but their prices have risen quite extensively, and they get harder and harder to find in the condition you want. So
I talk about it. Yeah, they are. But as I say, it's interesting when you said about whether I've been tempted by any other character or did I remain focused. Actually, it's remarkable that I've remained focused. Actually, I have not been tempted by any other focus, and I'm sure we'll go through some of those in more detail. But there's a story behind each of them, or there's something which either it's a trigger or some backstory, or even something to do with childhood, which subconsciously has led me to maintain the focus.
Wonderful. Well, really, looking forward to going through your areas you sent me, because I mean, some of the photos you sent me are incredible, and as long as you're happy, we'll definitely have an enhanced version going alongside this over on our YouTube channel where people can watch along. Just before we get too much into your items, do you have a display area, or are you one of these collectors who hasn't got things on display?
No, that's a big problem. I don't have any space. I don't display them. I don't have a room. I get envious when people talk about the Star Wars room, and I wish I had that. I don't. And what I do, in a way, it's not too bad, because what happens is, because they are stored away, I often just take them out and display them. I enjoy them. And I take pictures, and I get fantastic response on Facebook. I love that, and it's great. And then I put them back, and it's good. It's good once in a while just to take them out and take pictures, and then I think you start to appreciating them a lot more than if they were constantly displayed, because you might get tired of seeing them and all that. I don't know. This is how I feel. So it's a mixed blessing. I'm sort of I'm happy that I have them, and then I can still take them out and enjoy them.
I suppose you handle them probably a bit more often than a collector with them on show. Like you say, you probably look at them probably a bit more greater detail than what a collector does when they get a card, and you might spend 10 minutes with it and then put it into a cabinet, and that's where it sits. Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, just before we go on, but what about modern? Do you collect modern stuff, or is it not really your bag?
No, I'm not big into modern. Modern is very much about, if I like it, if I fancy it, I mean, I can probably give you two modern stuff that I enjoy just because they look good. One is General Grievous from the vintage collection. I love the card back. I love the character, and the figure's brilliant. So I've got a whole bunch of them. And the other one is Fett. I can't afford the vintage Fett, so I thought, well, why don't we get the modern one? And I like the Black Series and other stuff that they come out. So but I'm not very much into modern. It's very much whatever comes along. If I like it, I buy it, and that's it really. But nothing, no specific focus.
When it comes to Fett, they chuck out a Fett all the time, don't they? It's you could have quite a collection if you went down the modern route with him. I think you see it several times a year. Right, so Zia, we're going to go on to, like I said at the beginning, I asked you for 5 items. You've gone for 5 areas of your collecting, which is wonderful. I mean, the photos you sent me are tremendous. I mean, every area. So we'll do them in the order you sent them to me. The first one you sent me was your Darth Vader focus. Not much better than getting a Vader focus going, is there? It's so can you tell me why Darth Vader, and then kind of take us through what your focus is with him, because you've got some stunning pieces in here.
I'm not sure exactly how I really got into Vader. Maybe, as I say, subconsciously it's to do with the fact that it was the only character which I recall going to a shop like with my uncle and buying the figure. Maybe it's to do with that. I don't know. I've always black color or the dark feature of the character, and I think it's a cool character. I don't know. As I say, when I started vintage collecting, I had several focus, as I mentioned before. Vader was one of them, but it was not big. It wasn't big. It's only a set of circumstances which led for me to decide, you know what? Yeah, Vader. I'm going to concentrate on that one. I really like it. And the photos that you see at the moment was actually taken about 5 or 6 years ago. Interestingly enough, most of these items which you see on the photos I don't have anymore, because I actually moved away from collecting loose and baggies and card backs to just focus on mid-on cards. But the story behind how my Vader focus really started in earnest was I was on Facebook, and I someone was selling this Canadian Chunti back, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. It's very nice. In the back it had this thing in French, like Gare des Étoiles. Being a French speaker, I thought, wow, I really want that. I think this is a unique piece. As a matter of fact, it is one of the rarest card back to have, and it was graded also. And it was, from what I recall, my most expensive purchase at that time. So I went for it, got it shipped from the US, and when I got it, I decided that, you know what, I had all these Vader stuff. Let's take a picture, do a sort of group shot of all my Vader items. And I did that, and I put it on Facebook, and I had a very good sort of positive reaction to that. And I looked at it again, and I thought, you know what, I do like Vader. I think he's a very cool character, and let's go for it. And I went for it, and now I own over 25 mid-on card Vader items. Most of them are graded. I also administer a vintage Vader collectors group on Facebook. And yeah, I'm very happy. I've got a few more Vaders to get, but as I said, also very patient, and I'm sure I'll get them someday.
What's the hardest Vader to find? Obviously, I know things like the DT on a card. I mean more your general run of the mill. I'm not.
Well, the French one. I know a couple of my mates have got it. The French what do you call the square?
The square card one, yeah.
Square card one. Some of them. Another one which is eluding me is the wide card back. The Takara.
Oh yeah.
I have the normal Takara, but I don't have the one with the white background. So I'm missing that. There's some other ones, some gems which are unique pieces. Interesting enough, I don't have any for any of my focus. I don't have any proof cards. For some reason, I've never got around to get them. I mean, I think they're so expensive. First of all, and secondly, there is a certain charm to have with. To have the card and the figure together. So I really much my focus is very much on mint on cards.
Yeah, well they look amazing together, don't they? I mean, I always find on the Star Wars card, Vader to me always really popped with the double racetrack and everything. I don't know, there's just something about Vader on that card that just really does something for me. And obviously he's got his neon pink saber across the card, which is always a lovely standout piece. But
it is actually, that's by the way, if you notice, but this is the only card back, the one which is him with his lightsaber that I collect. I don't collect any other Vaders. There was another version of him on the second Death Star in Return Jedi, so I don't collect that one. I used to, but I only focus on the original lightsaber scene with Obi-Wan.
It really is a good choice and stunning. And the Canadian card, which you say got you into it, is it's a standout piece. Is that your favourite piece in your Vader run?
Yeah. Actually, I have my other favourite piece, which I got only this year, was the 21C with the sticker. That's a nice piece. It's also, again, very rare. But the Canadian, I think, above all, I think because it's so rare also. From what I understand, what I've been told, it's the only graded 80 by AFA piece in existence, from what I understand. I'm still looking for another one to find out whether to confirm this. But yeah, it is a rare piece, and I love it.
Fantastic run, stunning figure, great choice, and I think it's a great way of kicking off your 5. So I'm going to move it on to your number 2. See, I mean, I think your first 4 items you sent me are based around focuses. And obviously, you just mentioned your focuses just before we came into these. Now, this is another impressive run. You've R2-D2, the solid dome. You even call it a solid dome obsession. You've told us that your first figure was an R2 sensor scope, but this is a great choice for me, Zia, because I think this is on the original Star Wars. I think this is the best card back image from all 96 for me, photo wise. I love it.
I agree. I think it's this picture of this clean looking droid on the Yavin celebration, crisp looking. With this dark background, I think it's fascinating. Yeah. To understand the obsession of with R2, I think you have to go back to my childhood. Actually, the R2-D2 was the first first action figure I came across when I was a kid in school. Someone brought it in school. I remember, him playing with the toy and making the clicking sound. And all the kids were just excited and asking this guy, where did you buy it and stuff like that, how much was it and all that stuff. So I've always been fascinated by R2-D2. And as I say, when I started collecting, I tried to get everything R2, whether it's loose figures, sensor scope, pop-up figures, whatever I could. I got it. But in the last few years, I came to realize, what? I think I was more interested in the solid dome. Because of this, 1977, 78 sort of era. It was vintage. It was something more special than the others. And that's why I then gradually, last few years, I got rid of all my non-solid dome figures and just focused on this one. And I'm actually very pleased that I've gone quite far with it. I've got a few more cards to get, but this year I managed to complete my 12A, B, C series. I also, on top of that, I got a 12A Taiwan, graded. So I was very excited. I think I've taken as far as I could. I've got, as I say, I mentioned before, I'm just missing one or two, which would be nice to have. But I'm happy. Whatever I have, I'm happy at the moment.
I mean, the Star Wars cards together. I mean, I know they look very similar from the front, but they just pop. It just really does pop. I do notice that you have quite a lot of graded figures. I know some people love grading, some people aren't so keen on grading. Do you look for a graded figure over an ungraded figure, or is it just however it comes?
I think I understand that some in the community there's really, I think, three camps. There's those who don't like grading, those who are neutral, and those who favor grading. I'm in the camp of I favor grading. I think it's just something I've always I like that. I think it's because I look for quality, as you know. It has to be, for me, to get a figure or to own a figure. It has to be if it is graded, it has to be minimum 80. And it's a choice I've made, and I'm happy with that choice because, as I say, it has enabled me in the past to get rid of some of my previous figures and sell them at a good price, but also because you know that whatever you're buying or selling, it is genuine piece, which has been certified by a grading company. But yeah, I opt for a graded item where possible.
Do you send items off to be graded if you've picked something up that you?
Still, you will not believe, but I've never done that.
No, just
I've never got my stuff because I've got another philosophy. I'm thinking that, you know what, I might as well get the graded item. I have some items which are not graded, especially in my R2D2 line, which I'd love to get graded. I will probably one day, but I'm too lazy. I prefer, if I can avoid the hassle, I might as well get the graded item in the first place.
Yeah, I suppose you've always got it there to upgrade as well, haven't you, if you do find one graded and to move on. But R2 is brilliant, mate. I love that. The picture you sent me, I just love the stack of them, and just such a clean looking card back and absolutely stunning. Your third area, now it is a focus. You are looking at a character here now, but you named your number 3, Don't Give Up on Your Dreams and Friendship, and this is really nice. So you got 2 stories here. This is your Leia focus, Leia Organa. I'll let you go through these 2 stories. So first of all, your first story is about how you acquired these 5 particular pieces. You're following from Carrie Fisher's passing. So what a run this is. Can you just go through the 5 cards that I'm looking at?
Well, the story behind my Leia focus and these cards are, as I say, when I started into vintage collecting, I had a fascination with the Leia Organa picture. I thought it was a very iconic, classic picture on the Yavin base with her white dress. In the back of my mind, I said, you know what? I have to get one of those. They don't come often, so I thought, when the time comes, I will get it. And then, unfortunately, Carrie Fisher passed away, and I thought to myself, well, Zia, you blew it, because they're going to be very hard to find now, and they're going to be very expensive. And that's what happened. I thought, no, I can't give up. I must. I'm sure. I will wait. And Stu, I can't explain how or what happened, but within the space of 2 years of her demise, I managed to get these 5 items. 4 of them are 4 of them are graded, except the French one, and they're all 80 grade. And I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful. And how I acquired them, I think it's a bit of luck, bit of patience, the right connection, a bit of research, but also to be there at the right time, at the right place, and also 2 of them. The one with the stickers on the right. I think there are certain deals when I buy my items. There's some deals which I call all hands on deck sort of deals, which means that I build up sufficient fund to put a confident bid, and I'll go as high as possible because I'm desperate for the item. Obviously, there is a ceiling, but I'm let's say more ambitious with some of these deals. And these 2 items, I was really focused. I really wanted them, and I'm very, very grateful. I was very fortunate that I paid a good price. It wasn't too high. It was, I think, the right market rate. But as I say, very, very lucky in the 2 years to obtain these items. Because they don't come often, I think I'm sort of happy with what they have already. If I find another one, I will go for it. But I have no doubt that they are very rare and quite expensive to get. The other picture the reason or the story behind the French organa, the Meccano one, it's about the friendship, really. It's about the friendship in the hobby, and I actually wanted to illustrate that because it's the hobby is great. You collect all these things, but more than collecting a piece of plastic, it's about the people around you, the community, the people on the Facebook. All the friends you make, and the story behind that layer, it is about the friendship. It's about the people who help you to get the item. So the story behind it starts with I've got a couple of friends who are part of the Vader vintage group, which I administer. Darren Eddy, who's based in Australia, and Sven Schneider, who's based in Germany. So what happened one summer, I purchased a 12-back R2 in Australia, and I found out my friend Darren, who's based in Brisbane, was going to come to London, and I asked him, "Do you mind if I get this R2 shipped to your address, and then you can bring it along to London?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." He was such a gent, and he said, "Yeah, no problem. I'll bring it along." So at the same time, my friend Sven contacted me, and as I say, Sven is based in Germany. And Sven said he showed me this picture of this the French Meccano, the Leia, and he said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love it." I didn't have it, and I was really looking forward to get a foreign card. So I said, "Yeah, I'd love to have it." I didn't have enough funds, but I managed to sweeten the deal with Minton card Vader that I had. I didn't want, and Sven was happy to exchange or do a part deal with this. So we agreed a deal, some cash and that Vader item. But the thought occurred to me, right, I don't have any problem to ship my Vader, but I was really, really concerned about, getting that layer, how he's going to ship it and just to make sure it doesn't get damaged. So when I was talking to Darren mentioned, yeah, I'm on my way to London. And, by the way, yeah, I'll come to London. I'll drop the 12-back, the R2, and then I'm off to Germany to visit Sven. So I said, "Oh, are you? Okay." I said, "Do you mind taking that Vader to him and bringing back the Leia?" He said, "Yeah, sure, mate, no problem." I say, what can I say? Darren, what a guy. I met him in London. He gave me my 12-back. I gave him my Vader to take to Sven. He went to Germany and came back with the Leia, and we had lunch. Darren, his lovely wife Sarah, in a Turkish restaurant, and this is where he gave me my French Leia, and I was super excited. And it was great opportunity to meet Darren and to have some time talk about Star Wars, his collection and what his life and all that stuff. So it was great.
It's not bad having a personal courier.
Yeah.
Travel from Australia and then pop around Europe and bring you them back, is it?
And actually found out that he picked up something else from Sven, some other Vader stuff, which he took to Australia for another guy, another collector.
What a responsibility.
Yeah. No, but he's a great guy.
You're often on, you post a photo on Facebook or social media going out for the odds. I think they're often curry nights, and I see you sitting at the tables with 3 or 4 Star Wars fans and a couple of toys on the table. Is that social aspect? I know this is about friendship here, but that social aspect quite important to you as part of the hobby?
Yeah, it is. Actually, I started these curry nights with a couple of friends, Ed Newborn and James Swanson, were dear friends of mine, and they we started doing this a while back. And then I thought, hang on, why just us two? Why don't we bring anybody else who lives around London? And that's how we started. So whenever we can, and unfortunately with COVID, I haven't done one for a while. But yeah, I love that. I think this is a great aspect of the collecting, as I say, is meeting people, and I think through this friendship you build this network, and it helps your collection, it helps their collection, but it's also fun. It's fun to get to know other people.
Do you ever try to get to any of, like, not so much the conventions, but more the toy show types, like a Farthest From or an Echo Live, where they're predominantly based for vintage toys? Or is that kind of the social bit not really interest you in that?
Stuart, I wish I did. I miss the Eco Live all the time, because on the Saturday when it happens, I take my son for fencing classes, so I missed that, unfortunately, the Eco Live. Having said that, I was meant to go to the one which was cancelled this year. I was gonna actually. I had booked a table to sell some of my stuff. But yeah, I haven't been to the Farthest From. I've heard so much about it. It's just a question of family commitment. It's often not for me to get there. But having said that, I've attended two of the celebrations in Europe, the London ones, so I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, to be fair, Echo and Farthest From. I mean, Echo is a real hive. There's so much going on there and so much great items, and they're two very different shows. Farthest From as well, a lot more intimate, but a real throwback to those 1990 kind of events. I mean, they're both lovely if you ever get the chance to get down there. Obviously, Farthest From's good if you can make a weekend of it, really. But like I say, I know that's not easy for everybody with personal life. So we're going to move on to your number 4 here. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, the Death Star droid, such a good, iconic figure. Love it. This image you've sent me here. We've got 4 cards, 4 mint on cards, and then 4 loose and a baggie. So can you take me through what's going on in this picture?
Well, yeah, the obvious thing is Death Star droid is my focus, yeah. But I think what I wanted to illustrate with this picture is various aspects of my collecting habit, which are actually displayed on this picture. Like, first thing to observe is that you can see some loose figures. None of my other focus, I have loose figures. Death Star droid is the only one which I happen to have some loose figures, because I think the figure itself is, as you mentioned, is stunning. It's a great figure. So that's one observation.
Well, when you go with loose with the Death Star droid as well, though, you've probably found the hardest loose figure to get with decent limbs that stand up and with decent paintwork, haven't you, with the black? It's
correct. As a matter of fact, they are whatever you see on the picture. They are the only one I own, because I've struggled to find figures with great color, great paint, and they are really stunning. Actually, they are very, very stiff limbs and sort of near mint condition.
Yeah, they look good.
So the other thing to note, acrylic. I love acrylic. For me, if you want to display, especially a mint on card, has to be on acrylic. So I'm a big fan of that. We alluded earlier on about displaying and my collection. Because I don't have a space to display them permanently. I often take them out and put them on a table and take pictures. And this where I actually took this picture, there's an area of in my house on the ground floor in the dining room facing the garden. Where there's a natural sort of sunlight comes through, and it's a really great place to take pictures of my collection. I've done this. If you notice that a lot of the pictures I've taken are actually from that area, and this is a favorite spot of mine. And I often just, as I say, when it's nice and sunny, just put them there and take a picture there. Other thing to note is, the cards are in near mint condition. As I say, I try my best to avoid any cracks in the bubbles and any yellow bubbles. Card also needs to be good. The other thing to notice is upgrades. I often upgrade cards. All of these 4 cards have been upgraded to as I say, to try to achieve the status of mint or near mint. Interestingly enough, the 4th one on the right, the 45 back, I've upgraded that 3 times. I currently have I have it now on 85 grade. I also like to collect, where possible, rare items. And one of the rarest in this picture is the Empire Strikes Back offerless. It took me a while to get that one, actually. I've been trying for a long time to get that one. So it is common in my collecting habit to aim for anything which is not common and often very very rare. I mentioned earlier that I don't have any proof cards. I'm not into proof cards at all. I'm not into prototypes or all these pre-production items. They're so expensive, and then often they're not. They are people are like them. That's fine, but they don't display as well as the production item. I think that really sums up what I wanted to say about this picture, and in a way about my collecting habit, really.
The Tri-Logo Death Star droid, I mean, he's getting harder and harder. I've seen his price rise quite vastly in the last 2-3 years. Is such a lovely card. And that ESB Ophilus, I mean, the whole photo, it does pop, doesn't it, like that? I mean, it is beautiful. Lovely piece. Yeah. Yes. Just well, while we're on your focuses, I know you're not a loose collector, but what do you think when you go back 5 years and a variant to me seemed to be, let's take Luke Skywalker, for example. He had about 3 hair colours. But there are these people now that hunt the variants, and they're saying that there's 50 variants of a single figure. I mean, I saw the other day a Snaggletooth, which had got like a gouge out of his back. To me, it looked like a gouge out of his back, you know? And they were going on, oh, is it a factory error? And it's just like, well, perhaps, you know, something wasn't right in the moulding. But where do you sit on variants? Do you think there's multiple, so many for each figure?
No, I don't. I mean, and there's probably one of the reasons why I don't collect loose figures, because I know with some of my obsessive nature, I'd go nuts. I would be hunting down all the different variants. So no, and that's why I know. I first of all, my position is, no, I'm not bothered about so many variants. And secondly, because I don't collect, I only collect the mid-on cards. It really doesn't affect me too much.
No.
So I try to avoid all the headache. All of that.
I was just wondering if you ever to be fair, actually, Leia, your focus is. I'm not sure how many
there are not many
variants there are. I suppose the Death Squad commander, which you mentioned earlier, it's got what they call the disco boots. But
that's right. Yeah.
Do you chase mint on cards with that variant in them?
I don't know. No, for me, it's more the card back variation rather than the figure itself. I'm with you. And as a matter of fact, Death Star Commander, funny you mentioned that one. Of all my focus, he's probably my least favorite as a loose figure, because I don't find him very attractive as a loose figure. It's more the card back, which I love.
Well, Zia, that takes us on to your fifth and final choice. And I love this. You name this your hidden treasures from your childhood. Obviously, we've already touched on your childhood and your love of stickers and cards. So some of these photos really did get me. This is Panini predominantly, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. These are Panini, but also other foreign licensees who use the same stock images for creating the album. So they are photo album from or sticker album. As a matter of fact, I actually discovered that some of them, the Panini one, I think, are stickers, but the others, the non-Panini, are actually apparently used to glue them. So used to get the cards, same shape as the sticker version, but used to glue them. So they are from different part of the world. There is the Italian. On the pictures, you see the Italian, the Spanish, the Mexican, and the German.
I love the Italian one there. Wait, you've got. So these are all Star Wars, but I just think the same about Luke and Leia. I mean, the way they've been portrayed in that imagery. You know, Leia's extremely sexy in that photo, and Luke's got all his chest out and he's muscular. I mean, it is a great image. I love seeing different things like that. And in fact, the Italian stuff often piques that kind of interest in me with some of the ways they go. And I'm 3PO's proper prominent, isn't he, on that cover?
Correct. Yeah. The good old Italians. Yeah, I love the and that actually the album stands out from the others. Actually.
Yeah, there's definitely something about it that thing. So internally, I've got a few sticker albums, but are all the stickers the same order? Is it just the covers that are different, or?
Yeah. The stickers are all the same actually. Although the pictures inside are all the same. And only difference is the cover. There's was interesting because the only way you can say distinguish between the Spanish and the Mexican is the address, and I think it's in the back of the actual licensee, and that's the only way you could distinguish that. One of them obviously it's a Mexican address, and the other one is a Spanish address.
They look amazing. Is there any that you're still looking for?
The first one I got was the Mexican. It's actually one of the rarest. Mexican is one of the rarest. The more common one are the German and the Spanish, followed by the Italian. I also have a Brazilian, which is not shown here, but I also have a Brazilian. And they're all complete, by the way. And the other two, which I don't have, which I love to, but very, very hard to get. The next hardest one is the Venezuela. I know a friend of mine has got it complete, and there's probably 2 or 3 around the world which are complete sets. And the very hardest one, impossible to get, I've never seen it, is the Costa Rica.
Right. Yeah, some of that's completely new to me. Costa Rica sticker album. I mean, you don't hear much coming out from a place like that, do you?
No.
With regards to vintage items. Oh, they look amazing, mate. And you sent me a link to issue.com, which is amazing. You've got the Italian sticker album here, and you can turn every page over and see the album as it is. There's a lovely site. I've never come across that before.
No, I actually wanted to share this with you because for me, more than the album, the actually cover album, is the content. I mean, when I first got the Mexican, when I opened it and looked at the pictures, I was actually blown away by the pictures themselves. And the reason is after 40 years of being a Star Wars fan and collecting from childhood, to discover some pictures you had never seen before, and the quality of them are just simply stunning. Because as I say, during my first phase of collecting, I went through all the Topps cards and stuff like that, and all the different pictures in magazines. So I had seen all kind of pictures from Star Wars. But then when 40 years later, you get hold of this in your hand, and you think, how did I miss that? How come I'd never seen not only these pictures but these albums? It was something quite amazing. It's something I can't explain it. It's just superb. I mean, the albums are. I mean, I love them. I think they're beautiful. There's something which triggers from your childhood, some memories or something like that, and I found them fascinating. And that's why actually I wanted to share this with you because I think the content. If you look at these pictures, you'll see they're very unusual, and some of them. I mean, even. As I say, I'm not even shown they were taken from or they had actually shown this in the movie. I don't know where they got these pictures, but they're very nice. And then when you realize that they are actually from 1978, just the thought of that, it's just like you're going back in time and you're trying to relive that childhood and opening these pictures, opening these packets of stickers and opening them and sticking them on the album. So it was a beautiful experience when I first got them.
Absolutely brilliant, Zia. I love that. I mean, it's just amazing. Yeah, that's so brilliant. But they are superb choices. And if you only had to pick one thing that they said, you've got to get rid of everything, what would you be urged to keep out of the whole sections? I mean, would you keep your Vader focus or your Leia or your treasures?
Stu, it's a tough one. Oh, Stu, this is a tough one. Oh, gosh, I don't know. I think a while back I would have said my 12 back R2, the 12C actually. This was the first one I ever got, my 12 back. It's one of my favorite pieces. But I think I'll probably have to go for the Canadian Vader.
Sparked a whole focus, as we've learned tonight.
That's right.
Zia, just before we do close out, can you just explain to us then what Star Wars is to you? Why Star Wars? Why is Star Wars that has taken such a big part of your life?
I guess it's to do with my childhood. Even before Star Wars came, I was very much into sci-fi and fantasy movies and everything. I mean, I used to Friday night with my brother. Every Friday night they used to show these sci-fi movies from the 50s and 60s. And even my friends used to complain I was so much into science fiction. My parents had enough. And I think when Star Wars came at the right moment. I mean, I had a very fertile mind and very sort of full of imagination and for me, Star Wars just hit me right where it was, perfect time, perfect place. Allowed me that channel to express myself with all the story writing and whatever. I was very difficult to explain, but I think I would probably the source would be that I've always had a very open mind with sci-fi and fantasy. and that's why Star Wars means a lot to me, because that allows me to that escapism, and that thing about good versus bad, but also all the spaceships and stuff like that. The fact that you can escape and you can leave your sort of daily routine and enjoy this moment where you are in another planet and stuff like that. And I guess that's probably that's the only explanation I have.
Escapism, that's what it is. But Zia, I mean, it's been absolutely fascinating. Thank you for sharing everything tonight, because you've got some amazing items, a wonderful collection, and I do urge people to go and have a look at the enhanced version, because I mean it's wonderful to see when you. I mean, it's lovely to know that you get them out and photograph them like you do. But you've got beautiful collections here, and
thank you.
Look forward to see where you go next.
Thank you very much. No, it's been a pleasure, and I have to say also that I have to mention that I really enjoy your podcast. I'm a fan of the Vintage Rebellion podcast, but also enjoy yours, because I think you've nailed it. You really, by covering both modern and vintage, you really access a wide network of the Star Wars fandom, and it's great. So yeah, thank you for having me on.
Oh, our pleasure, and hopefully we will have the pleasure again in the future. Zia, thank you so much once again, man. Just want to say once again a huge thank you to Zia for joining me. Really enjoyed that. And maybe you want to get involved and maybe do an interview in 2021. Come on, tell us about anything to do with your Star Wars fandom. If you do and you're interested in that kind of thing, you can email me at generationskywalker@gmail.com or contact us through any of our social media. So go on Facebook, on Twitter and on Instagram and just search for Generation Skywalker. If you want to watch the enhanced version of this show so you can see the amazing images that we were talking about during that interview, go over to YouTube. Again, search for Generation Skywalker. Enjoy the video. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos in the future. And go over to www.generationskywalker.com, where you can find our blogs and links to all of our enhanced shows and all of our audio shows. So much going on over there as well. But for me and for this show, it is thank you very much. Thank you, Zia, once again. I hope you enjoyed the show. We are Generation Skywalker.